Hello, and welcome to Pro Trust Consulting. I'm Robert Cartmel, and this is a short brief regarding lifetime property trusts and why people like to put these in place for their main asset, their property. There's some guidance on this on our firm's website, Pro Trust Consulting. It's a real sort of common factor for people to consider this in estate planning matters. So please have a look at our estate planning section on our website and look up the guidance. There's some guidance and details regarding this subject. Just a brief explanation then of lifetime property trusts. They are protection devices. So strange concept to have a protection device, but it's a structure, it's a layer that you provide for your main asset, your property, the family home. It is something that is considered alongside undertaking wills, and we undertake a lot of will trusts. So for couples, a husband will pass his estate to his wife and then to his children, and trusts are the structure to ensure that succession happens. Doing this for your main asset, putting it into a trust structure while you're alive, can actually be an even more improved version than a will trust. It is considered alongside inheritance tax planning, but the inheritance tax planning aspects are more for the underlying structure when the children ultimately inherit it. It is really, therefore, an estate protection device. I've written here on this slide against erosion from a beneficiary's divorce, bankruptcy, or care fees claim, but also it's a protection against future vulnerability. So if a husband has died, say, and his wife then is on her own and she, in vulnerable state, felt obliged to make a change to their existing wills where their children, say, were going to benefit equally and she benefited a new partner, or one of the children rather than the other, that vulnerability is a real factor, and a lot of people can be concerned about those things happening in older age. But if you've already put your property, your main asset, into a lifetime trust structure, it can actually protect against issues that could arise on that future vulnerability. That is much more the rationale for why I look at these structures and why my own parents have done this. So what are lifetime property trusts, or what is a lifetime property trust? So it's a document. A lifetime trust is a document. It's called a settlement. It's an old-fashioned term, that you are declaring that your asset, your main asset, in this case, for example, a property, is owned or housed within the ownership of a trust. So that means that the trust becomes the legal owner of the property, and the family members do not at that point own the property. So a husband can transfer his half share, say it's equally owned, into a trust, and the trust owns it, and his wife does the same. And it doesn't pass to the beneficiaries, the legal ownership does not pass to the beneficiaries until the trustees decide to pass that benefit. And the trustees are usually the couple and the adult children for whom it's ultimately to benefit. You can have independent trustees. We're often trustees, but it's primarily something for just the couple to be in control of as trustees. But the ownership is with this entity called a trust. So typically, this structure is used by couples who have children. Usually it's at the point of retirement, I find. It's when they are putting their main asset into a crystallized structure. So it's usually when people are settled in their family structure and circumstances. So we normally see people do this who are in retirement because they are usually the people that have the most time and capacity to really consider and focus on estate planning. But it could apply to anybody at any age, really. But the typical scenario where it's utilized most is where actually the property is not your multi-million pounds. It could be, say, £600,000 or lower, primarily because each spouse has a tax threshold allowance for putting assets into trust of £325,000 each. So typically, we look at this for a property being in the region of 600 or under 650. So this is not some expert tax planning device. It's just a protection structure for the main property asset. And usually you will find the situation will be that most couples will own their property jointly. It doesn't, for this purpose, matter whether it's held joint tenants or tenants in common. And if you don't know those expressions, there is some guidance on our website on that area, and that very much more relates to will trusts than this scenario. But we're just looking at a property that's, say, owned by the couple jointly. So the benefits of it allows the couple to retain control and use of the property for their lifetime. So the use is classified as a life interest. And a life interest is the right to live rent-free in the property, the right to rent it out and receive the rental income, the right to sell it, buy another property with the net proceeds and do the same, live in it rent-free or receive the rental income. The underlying ownership is with the trust, with the trustees on behalf of the entity. So if, for example, one spouse has then died and their life interest has ceased and the other one continues to use the life interest, they can't just give the property away to one of the children or a new partner. The whole trusteeship needs to approve such transactions. So the trusteeship then is essentially the protection for the children. So it is also to put in place a smooth succession of that inheritance by the family members on death. And that trust can provide further protection for those children. And that's something I can explore further and explain when I actually have a meeting with you. So that is, in a nutshell, lifetime property trust. A lot more information on our website. And of course, do come and see us and have a meeting to talk through these sort of structures. They are very helpful and useful and popular at this current time. Thank you for listening. Take care.